Hey, everybody, this is Brent from The Second Look, and tonight I have the pleasure of speaking with Livi DarConte. Livy, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. I saw one of your films, and I really enjoyed it, and I really wanted to talk to you about it. So we're gonna do something a little bit different here. We're just gonna chat real quick, briefly about you and kind of where you come from and how you got here. But then we'll kind of switch over to looking at your film and kind of talking about it together. So, what was the thing? What got you started? What was the moment you thought I want to be a filmmaker?
So I actually grew up doing like child acting from when I was 2 to 12. So I
Hmm.
kind of always lived on set, which I very feel very fortunate for doing. And yeah, I did acting and it was always a case where like I really enjoyed it and it was really fun. And around like 7, I started going up to people on set, which is not really professional, and kind of just like asking them like, "Hey, what do you do? What do you do?" you know? And then I found out what a director was, and I was so intrigued by that. I'm like, okay, so you're like in charge of like the creative vision for this entire project. And then I
Hmm.
learned screenwriting and all that stuff. So around 12, I decided that I wanted to be a film director, and I did some internships, trade school, went to college for it.
Hmm.
And yeah, now I'm here, and I guess filmmaking's always been a part of my life, and I seriously would not do anything else. I love it.
I see. That's interesting. Yeah, because most people outside of like Nepo babies don't
Yeah.
have that early experience. I'm curious how has acting informed your directing? Mhm.
I think my experience with acting growing up and doing acting as like a job, even though I was a kid, I think it really had a long impact on being a director because as a director, obviously you're working with actors, they're delivering what you want to bring to the screen, you're working with them. So I feel like it gave me a new perspective to kind of understand what they're doing. And with that, helping me as a director direct them and like inform them on what we're looking for and really work with them. It's kind of I really like having that knowledge, and I think it's really important.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're communicating with this person. And you need to speak a common language, right? And if you know their vocabulary, that would be easier. And I guess the same goes for any other department. You know, if you're speaking to the costume designer, you need to speak their language, and you're speaking to the DP, you need to speak their language. And acting, same thing, same thing. I think there's a good long tradition of actors that became directors or directors that also act that have that kind of that dual experience that I think you're talking about.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, it's interesting that the director should know everybody's job, you know, and should
Yeah.
have experience somewhat, and that can be tough. But if you're into it, if you're as passionate as you seem to be, you know, like that doesn't seem to be a burden. It's more of an opportunity.
100%. Yeah, I think it's as a director, it's in a way it's like being bilingual. It's very important to at least experience some areas of each department so you know what you're communicating.
Hmm.
And yeah, I've just seen sets run so much smoother when everyone like kind of knows like the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So you said a film school or trade school
yes.
and then college. So tell me about the trade school first.
Yeah, so also I should probably preface, I am from Arizona. Yeah, that's where
Okay.
I'm currently at right now. But I do travel to LA and New York for work sometimes. It was a trade school called EVA out here, and they had a film program. So that was kind of where everything really got kicked off for me. It went from, creating little short films with my friends and like
Hmm.
my dolls when I was like 12 and like
Hmm.
growing out of that to like, okay, I'm actually going to like a school that has equipment I can rent
Hmm.
and actually have a better supplies to make the success of like little stories I was writing and things like that.
Hmm.
So that was a really great experience. So many beautiful opportunities there, and so many amazing people I met there. And then I went to Scottsdale School of Film and Theater in Scottsdale for college, and I recently graduated last year.
Oh,
And yeah,
congratulations.
thank you.
How does that feel?
It's insane. Yeah, because originally I feel like with film, you don't really need education. I shouldn't
Hmm.
say that. You don't need to go to college. I
Okay.
think if you're going on like sets and you're getting your education there and educating yourself through working, I do think
Hmm.
that is very important. But I don't think that every filmmaker needs film school. I had the opportunity to go, so that's why I went. But yeah, it was a great time. Again, met a lot of people there, had amazing opportunities, and definitely was a
Hmm.
great resource for equipment during that time to make certain projects and things like that.
Film school is a tough decision for a lot of people. Some people don't have a choice; they just can't go for whatever reason, either the location, the money, it's expensive. But even those who can, I think it's an important question, and a lot of people have their own experiences and what they got out of it and what they didn't need to get out of it or whatever. So, what would you? Well, I know we talked about some pros. You know, you get access to equipment, you get access to people to work with, collaborators. Maybe what was the biggest con for you going to film school?
That's really interesting. I had a really interesting time in film school because I was also full-time working as like a director and working on set with that, and I was doing full-time school. So there still is no sleep, but there was definitely no sleep then, you know. I'm trying to think. I try and see the positive in a lot of stuff, but I think a con would be there is assignments. Not saying that's bad, but there's limitations to those assignments
Mm-hmm.
with being in a school. Obviously you're making stuff for a grade, which with art it's I have this whole like little I don't think that art should be graded upon a person's opinion,
Yeah.
even though art is opinionated. There's this whole thing with that.
Yep.
And yeah, there's a lot of like pros and cons with film school. I think film school is very good for those who don't know what they want to do in the film industry yet, and if they have the opportunity to go, I think that is a great idea. Because it really, you know, between classes and stuff and like student sets, you can kind of get like a little taste where you're not just like a PA on like a regular set. You know what I mean? Like you can actually like, okay, let me try director, even though it's this like tiny student set. Let me see
Mhm.
if this is like what gets my gears going, you know?
Totally. Yep, that's great. I had a similar experience when I was there many moons ago. But it's kind of a filter. It's kind of like a Harry Potter sorting hat thing, you know,
Yeah.
where like you're like, oh, like I now that I've seen a little bit because I wasn't sure, but now oh, definitely editing. You know, that was my thing. Like I thought, like everybody, I think wants to be a director. Like that's the
Yeah.
only thing they want to do. But then they you know those the kind of specialty things, those things like oh like the part of the process that I really responded to was editing, so it really helped kind of push me in that direction. I think that's a good point for people if you're undecided, if you need a little nudge, if you want kind of that general experience to help you kind of guide your path, because you don't get that, like you're saying, like if you're just a PA in Hollywood, you know, for a year, that's all you're doing. You're not being able to try out the different positions and kind of get that buffet of experience. You have to you're limited. So that is a good point.
Yeah, because you're kind of more limited as like a third person point of view watching people, which I guess could be cool. As we're talking about, like, yeah, just it helps. It's a little Harry Potter sorting hat, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Okay, so you just graduated, and you're still. Are you working? You said you're working as a director. Like, what do you do for your work as a director?
Yeah, so right now I mostly do music videos and short
Hmm.
films. I'm
Okay.
slowly trying to, I really want to get a feature off in the next year. That's a big goal for me. And short films are so great, and I have a lot of work that still is getting to the light of day, which is really
Hmm.
great. I'm super
Hmm.
excited to share that. But right now, yeah, it's mostly been music video and short film.
Are you getting paid for these music videos?
Yes.
Like, okay, how do you? That's a because I want people to understand like, okay, how do you get work, right? So this is a
Yeah.
great opportunity. Are you working for an agency? Are you just getting independent? You find a band and they hire you, the record company. How does that work?
So, my experience currently, me and my DP trainee, who also DP'd Mourning Glory, which we're going to see soon, we made a company called Midnight Creative Productions. Really, I think it was like back in January. Because both of us were just getting a lot of like music work, which we love doing. It's like our fun little like thing besides doing film.
Uh,
And we're like, you know what? Yeah, let's make a company. Let's do it. A lot of it has been people reaching out or we reaching out to people for like, you know, venues like, hey, do you guys need like concert videography or something?
uh,
But a lot of the music video work has been people reaching out and you know, I'm like, hey, here's what I can offer. You know, I mostly do films, but I love doing like more narrative music videos and stuff. That's what I
mm,
really enjoy. So
okay.
it's a lot of that. I haven't, right now we are independent, an independent company. I've been doing it independent, but I think for anyone looking to get into music work, Honestly, my best advice is reach out. You'd be surprised to actually reach out back. And
Mhm.
I think that goes for like any opportunity. Worst comes to worst, people say no. And then you're just like, okay, cool, on to the next.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much the little story.
Okay. That's impressive. Started your own production company, and I like the advice of reaching out yourself. You know, looking for work. You know, you can't expect the world to come to you. You have to kind of put yourself out there. Were you guys advertising? Were you putting stuff up on social media? Like how would somebody find you if you're not reaching out to them?
Yeah, so we do have a social media and we did make a website and all things like that. We are advertising more on social media. There's been a little bit of break on it, but there is advertisement coming. There's so much coming. It's just all in the works right now.
All right.
But social media is such a useful tool. I feel like a lot of filmmakers and people in this field get that, but it is seriously like just that commitment. I'm a hypocrite. I need to do this, but like that commitment to posting, at least a couple times a week because it's going to get traction and then people are going to see it. And I feel like with how the world's moving right now, utilizing social media is such a powerful tool to kind of get
Yeah.
yourself known and get yourself clients if you're doing client work or just recognition for your work
Mhm.
and getting your art seen.
Yeah, right. It's kind of amazing how things have turned around like that, right? 20 years ago, what are you gonna do? You know, you would you'd make a commercial and put it on TV. You know, like you, and that costs money. And it's just really amazing the free outlet that you have with this stuff, and that you can get the word out. You know, of course, the downside is everyone else is doing it too, so like it's kind of a crowded thing. Then it's just like, okay, well, you have to be good. You have to do good stuff and stand out and just keep going, because it's not, even though the access is right there, you still have to. There's still work to be done, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so a feature is coming soon. You're still doing short films and music videos. Talk to me about the short film work. Now, this is stuff that you're doing, your films. Are you doing festivals, and how does that going?
Festivals are going great. We just completed festivals, obviously for Mourning Glory. Now that it's released and all that stuff, it's like the marketing time now for that.
Hmm.
And then a lot of the other films are still wrapping up post, which we will go into festival for that. Yeah, no, I love going to festivals. I love being a part of festivals. I think the festival circuit adventure is very interesting for every different film. Um,
Hmm.
I feel like that's what I'm gonna say about it. It's been very interesting. I feel like I've seen a lot of filmmakers get a little discouraged when you get a bunch of no's, but trust me that one or two yeses, maybe two or a couple more yeses will land, and sometimes they're the most magical, you know?
Sure. What was it like, your first festival, your first screening? You're showing your work to a room full of people. What was like?
Like very first time?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like I'm gonna have to like go back in my history.
Oh, because you're not as an actor, as a director.
Still gotta go back in history, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It was a film I made in that EVIT trade school.
Okay.
It was a very amateur film noir. It was called Black Chrome. I also acted in it. I directed and acted in it, and it was like me and four other people, and we just had this little tight knit group, and we're like, we're gonna make the best film noir to ever come out of this school. And we got into the Arizona Student Film Festival, which is an extension of the Phoenix Film Festival, which was awesome. It was crazy, and it played in like a Harkins theater, which is a pretty decent sized theater. It's like the famous theater out here that's
Yeah.
like McDonald's and stuff like that. Like you'll see Harkins
Right.
everywhere. And it was just such a surreal. I know everyone like is gonna say like seeing your work on a big screen like that is surreal, but being like a 15 or 16-year-old and seeing like this film you made with like really crappy lights from Amazon and your mom's old Canon and just seeing that like in a theater with so many people, really nerve-wracking. And it was just such a special experience. Like it felt like life was unreal in that moment.
Mm.
And yeah, no, that was an insane first festival experience. We wind up winning first place, which I'm still like in shock about like a couple years later. I'm like, I don't, you know.
Yeah.
But it was just truly like special. Every screening that like any piece of my work is on a screen like that, and there's I love it just sharing that moment with so many people. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Filmmaking's like a drug. It's just like, yeah, this is the stuff that keeps me like living. This is yeah.
Yeah. No, for
Yeah.
sure. Like it's that gratification of what was in your head is now out in the world, and then you're sharing it with people and getting to watch it as a group. It's a whole different experience, right? It's like there's nothing quite like it, especially if it's a horror film, let's say, and you feel like their tension, or if it's a romantic film or a drama and you hear some sniffles, like when you know that the thing that you made, actually worked on people, like the emotional part of it.
Yeah, no, it's completely like there's seriously nothing like it, and it's so interesting seeing people's experiences because everyone is so different with what they're
Mhm,
watching. Like
mhm.
some people love it, some people don't like it, but you get to see that. You get to see that in like live time. It's not just behind like a screen, and they're
Yeah,
like on YouTube and it's like YouTube views.
yeah.
And yeah, no, the film that we're about to watch today, I had a screening for with a film festival that I co-hosted. It was like a little film festival art market thing. It was so cool, and there was a ton of artist friends there. It was just a really special experience. Yeah, that was the first screening of Mourning Glory, and I invited like a bunch of my family too, and like friends, and I think there was like 300 people there or something. We were expecting like 50, so we were like, oh my god, it
Wow.
was crazy. Yeah, and yeah, I was like sitting up. It was a good screen system, but like you got to sit by the computer and make sure it plays right with the right hard drive and stuff. Yeah, it was,
Yeah,
it
one of
was,
those.
it was fun. It was fun. But seeing everyone's reactions, and I felt so bad because I made so many people cry. Like, I wanted to say sorry. I'm like, because the film after was like super like happy and like comedic. And I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God. But there was this really, really special moment that I'll never forget. Because I made this film for my grandmother. There's a whole story. I'll go into it later. But yeah, no, my mom, who, yeah, it was weird because like she's very supportive of my films and stuff, but like she's like, yeah, go Livy, and I'm like, thanks, mom. I
yeah.
remember this was the first like film I've really seen her like break down in. Well, it was about her mother, rightfully so, but it was just like such a feeling in my heart. It was just, and she was holding my friend's hand right next to her. It was like a friend that I literally just met. We became friends like that night. She was so sweet. But it was just like, just seeing people like react like that,
Hmm.
and just how strong art can get emotions and
Yeah,
create emotions. It's just, I'm going on a ramble because I just love talking about this, but it's just, I can't say it anymore else than just surreal and special. It's incredible.
yeah. Roger Ebert, I'm butchering the quote, but said something like movies are machines for empathy. Like
Yeah.
empathy machines. They're designed to connect us and to make us feel, and it's really just kind of magical when it happens, and when it works. And yeah, I can only imagine what that was like for you. Especially in that particular project. So, okay, so let's talk about this movie. Just give us the kind of the impetus, like where did this come from? What was the idea?
Yeah. So this film, it was a lot different. It was a very, very different from anything else I've directed. I like to kind of think about it like we had like a stopwatch, like a countdown on when we could finish this. So this film was created when it was last year in April. I found out that my grandmother, who was like, everyone has like their one person in life, that was mine. That
Mm,
we were like two peas in a pod, like best friends.
mm,
She was like a mother to me, all that stuff.
mm,
And yeah, we found out that her cancer was terminal, and we found her cancer was terminal, and she was put on hospice at her house, and they had her on bed rest and everything. And I went there the week that we found out, like my family went over and all that stuff. And we were just like talking about life and all that stuff, really deep conversation. And she let me know she had like a final wish for me. And I was just like, I thought it'd be something like cute, like let's have a movie night or something. And I was like, oh, I
mhm,
love this. But she was talking about, because every project I've had, every film, she's always had like a part in, and she's always trying to help out, which I'm
mm.
so thankful support because she did so much that she didn't have to. From
Mm.
like making help me sew little stuff to letting me raid her sewing room for fabric and everything for like
Yeah.
low budget stuff. Yeah, she's never seen me direct in person. Like she's seen
Mm.
videos of it, but she's never like seen it and she's always wanted to do that. So I like took that and I'm like I'm going to think about this and I was just like it's like the week after I was really really thinking about what she said and I was like how do I make this happen, you know? So that's when we decided I had this idea for Mourning Glory. I was like why don't I just make a film that honors her? Like it's for her, but it's also weirdly going to help me grieve her, which
Hmm.
I've never done before. It's such a line between personal life and work life, and it's just like I'm gonna combine that to not
Yeah.
only make her wish come true, but hopefully make something that others that have lost someone or are grieving someone or have, you know, just something for people also to connect with. I think art is such a good outlet for people to, you know, empathize. I
Yeah.
can't speak. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yes, I'm like thinking. Um, but you get that, like connect with and experience with. So yeah, I wrote the script in like a week and a half. It all came to me. You know, I'm like figuring out everything, sifting through ideas, and yeah, I wrote the script. I made a plan that we recorded it all in her living room. Yeah, the entire film except for the outdoor scenes were shot in her living room. And yeah, it was crazy. We like just had like little curtain sets and we're like, yeah, we're making it work. And yeah, we did that and it set up like a chapter book because she loved reading. I was like thinking about like every like little nitty-gritty thing that she liked. And I was like, I think chapters are really cool, but you know, it's gonna be surreal because it's that little Livy twist I put on it.
Hmm.
And she really loved like paintings and painting, like and just art.
Mm.
Like almost every piece of production design in there is from her, like
Mm.
her belongings and stuff.
Mm.
I kind of just like raided her house because she has a lot of cool stuff. So I'm like, this is
Right.
gonna look nice, you know. And I even got inspired by some more like paintings and stuff that she liked uh just like looking around like art and things like that, even my old great grandma's paintings that were there, just like creating something that could be timeless for an audience but also timeless in making like a time capsule of her and her memory. And yeah, so that's how we made it. We even like had our own little director's monitor set up if she wanted to like lay down in like a different room or something. We're like, hey, this is my director's monitor, that's gonna be your director's monitor. And yeah, I got some of my closest set friends and there was like 8 of us and yeah, we
Wow.
did it. Yeah. And then the outdoor scenes were filmed. There's this beautiful place called Olive Mill. We filmed that. It's literally right up the street from where she's at. So I
Mm.
was just like, yeah, we'll just film like the outdoor stuff there so it's close enough, like, you know, just in case.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just truly a special experience. And it was
Wow.
just it was so different from anything I've ever done on a set. Like it was
Hmm.
just so interesting. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was an unforgettable experience.
Yeah, I can totally tell just the way you're describing it. That sounds very special, very unique, very meaningful. I mean, I just saw a good movie, you know. You but you have this document now that you're saying that has all these layers to it that is so personal. Yeah, I mean that comes through, right? Like I can tell without knowing you or the context, but like you know you can just kind of tell when the work is personal, when it
Yeah.
has you know it's not just a job, it's not just you know especially when like a director just takes someone else's script and then you know whatever. This felt very intentional, very kind of direct. So I think it all that paid off. I think for you, like it really does imbue it with lots of kind of you know heart and emotion. Definitely, you know the subject matter too. Like that's obvious. It's like on a superficial level, you can tell that it's about that, but underneath it, you can feel that like this was special.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah. Okay, first that sound effect sounds like a modem or something. Is that like just is that just medical equipment machinery?
So the boop 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 boop, that is actually like a scanning machine for cancer.
Uh,
Yeah, I
okay.
really like I'm super intentional with this stuff, and then the actual hospital sound effect, I have a friend that works at a hospital, and I was just like, "Hey, can I, like, sneak in and record some
Yeah.
background noise?" So
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Okay. So,
yeah,
not stock audio, you went and gathered it yourself, that's great.
thank you.
Okay, so I didn't recognize that sound, um, for that machine, but I'm sure other people might, and
Yeah.
I think that even before we see anything, if they hear that, they recognize that, I think for those people, it's a whole different experience. Like, it's not just some sound effect. Like, they can recognize it, and they may have like a connection to it, like a memory from their own experience. So I think it's just a really effective way to kind of introduce us into this.
Thank you.
Okay, I need to turn it down a little bit, but I want to ask you about the light moving and her kind of following the light.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So that is her. We didn't really show it obviously, just because I really wanted the shot to kind of close in on her. Like you don't get a cutaway, you don't get a break from her receiving all this information, and
Hmm.
she's staring at the X-rays, which is
Okay.
like the lights panning over to like the next X-ray and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What is the news she's receiving?
Okay. Okay. It's a great choice to. I like what you said about just locking in on her and not getting a break from her or from her experience. I think that's the right move in this story, because she can't unlock from it. She can't disengage from it, so we shouldn't either. I think
Yeah.
that's a smart choice. Now that you say like the X-ray, that makes sense. But before I knew that, I'm very curious. Like
Yeah.
what's happening with these lights, and why is she watching them? It could have, I don't know. It felt kind of surreal already. Like there's already a bit of imagination. Maybe she's retreating into some inner thoughts or whatever, and that's starting to come to kind of manifest for her, because she's
Yeah.
still listening, but she's not paying attention
Yeah.
to. She's not looking at somebody. She's kind of, I don't know, just like I can appreciate the mental emotional process on her face.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she did great.
Yeah, it's not easy to be on camera for a minute straight, right? Real quick, now that I know that it was all shot in your grandma's living room,
Yeah.
I can I can but it just goes to show you, like, that was an intentional choice for you to involve grandma, but
Yeah.
just from a purely practical budget standpoint, it just goes to show you all you need is a character, a wall and some sound, and now you're transported. Like, you're in a hospital, right? So, like,
Yeah, yeah. That's something that's so important to me is sound. Sound really builds your world.
hmm
That's something that I'm so adamant about and something I learned from a mentor of mine who was my professor in film school. She's a sound designer, and sound is just, I think it really is what makes a film a film. Because you can
yeah.
close your eyes and you can imagine. It's almost like reading, where you're kind of imagining that dream world or that like that
hmm
world that you're reading the words from. It's amazing.
hmm I totally agree. This shot too, also just hanging on her, right? She's still. I think still has that same effect of this. This is a emotion in real time. Not you're not editing away from it. You're not glamorizing anything. It's just a straight, almost neutral profile shot, letting her have this moment.
Yeah, that was a huge focus of this was letting those moments drag out. Usually don't like doing that, but it felt like receiving that. It feels very elongated.
Yeah,
You want to escape from it, but you just can't.
right. And here's in this shot too. Like, I just really wanna. I need to pause it here for a
Yeah, no, you're
second.
good. We're both like,
Filmmakers are too scared to let things just breathe, just to be. Like they would
Hmm.
want to, even if it's an emotional scene, maybe a couple angles or whatever, like just afraid of boring people, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I understand why, right? Like there's a time and a place when you want to kind of have some sort of pacing to it and kind of move along, but you're 3 minutes in and you have like three shots,
Yeah.
and like there's just something to be said about letting the world of your story kind of exist, letting us kind of get comfortable with it, like try it on, and kind of be in it,
Yeah.
especially with this story with and you want that the emotional part too, but I just appreciate the fact that you didn't just get right into it, and just kind of move through these scenes.
Thank you.
Is that I'm putting on my film theory brain here.
You're good. You're
Is
good. I
is
love
that
it.
shot going into the TV? Is she going somewhere? Is she kind of is entry point to her inner workings?
Basically, yeah, pretty close. Like that was kind of the vibe. Like she's disassociating with all this emotion and trying to escape into like this dream world. And
Yeah.
that dream world is carrying her on this adventure through the five stages of grief. Kind of like very like Alice in Wonderland-y,
Yeah.
and yeah, in a really weird way. Yeah. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just kind of sucking her in, which I really like because we have the theme with all of them with the push-ins, and I'm like, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love that it's just static on the TV.
Thank you.
It's not uh I don't know. It has it's there's like I said before, like there's just this little sprinkle of surreal stuff. Just a little bit, even though it's clearly a grounded, situation, but just that little bit I think helps also bridge us into these sections, which is now much more kind of stylized and surreal. Okay. This is I'm guessing this is clearly based on like the what you're talking about, like the paintings and the
Yes.
art. Is there a direct homage here, or is it kind of a amalgamation? I
It's
mean,
kind of like a lot of different arts. I grew up in an Italian Catholic family, and she was very
okay,
Italian and Catholic.
yeah,
It's actually cool because that rosary that Anna's character is holding, I actually got from my grandmother day of set because I already had one picked out, and it was her first rosary she ever had. It was so important. I know. It was just like little things like that in the film that just personally like it's such a beautiful time capsule, but this was like
yeah,
inspired by those beautiful paintings you'll see in like the cathedrals and stuff like that. I
sure.
really want it to feel like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, we'll see more of it later, but there's clearly a lot of religious imagery here, and I like the prettiness of it, but also there's some juxtaposition here. There's
Yes.
tattoos, there's black fingernails,
Hmm.
there's nose piercings, like there's a really great blend that um yeah, I just that's immediately interesting to.
Thank you. No, I loved that contrast. I think it's so
Uh-huh.
interesting.
And I like that. I feel like you found a really interesting representation or metaphor for each of the stages, and like, or that what would go into each stage. And can you tell me a little bit more about like this one? How did
Yeah.
this image? How did you land on it for denial?
Yeah, so when I was seeing myself writing and kind of exploring the five stages of grief myself, um we're I was thinking about denial. I'm like, how are we gonna do this? It's like the starting one. You can kind of switch
Mhm.
up the stuff, but I knew the order that I wanted to do it in to kind of carry the
Really?
story. And denial, you know, denying the truth. You're denying that what happened happened. And then I got to thinking of those Catholic paintings, and I was just like, what if she's denying her faith? Because it's hope, having faith, having belief in something. It's losing that hope. It's dropping that hope, and it's
Hmm.
making her blind for the blindfold to what is going on. just like it's concealing from all that trauma and, the truth.
That's great. I love that. And then now you're pulling back. You were pushing in, now you're pulling back. It's just those little touches of what you can do with the camera to just accent, that one little idea of maybe hope going in and maybe a lack of hope coming out, but also very subtle, like you can barely notice. Uh, this is very like sophisticated.
I love this scene, by the way.
Yeah, this is a good one. Clearly more religious iconography obviously fits the stage, you know. Curious about the vignette. What kind of how did that come into it?
I have such a cool story about this, and I
Oh,
really
good.
wish my VP was here right now because she was the one that pitched this to me.
Okay.
Yeah, so this scene was so much different than the other ones. It's the only one that isn't like really concise and very not concise, I should say, like formatted, like very like, yeah, peace,
Yeah, yeah,
go.
yeah.
It was very like all over the place. Because I was thinking of anger, I was thinking more like self-centered anger with losing someone. It's kind of like blaming yourself for like maybe not being there enough or maybe not doing this enough. And kind of that was kind of the thought process. And I'm like, oh, what if like, she had wings and you're like ripping out those wings, there's like blood and stuff. Because that's just how I think. I don't know. But yeah, I really wanted this like spotlight. Or the whole idea was like tunnel vision when you're angry.
Mm,
That's what I was
mm.
thinking about. Like I definitely want a spotlight on her with like the camera moving around. And the lenses we used, I don't remember the names, but I will send you the names and we can like put them here
Okay.
or somewhere, anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lenses, it was so interesting because I really wanted a wide angle for this. I really wanted that kind of distortion
Hmm.
because of that tunnel vision. And
Hmm.
Trini, my cinematographer, she was just like, she sent me some screen tests and she's like, this has like a vignette in camera, like with
Mm,
the lens. It's really cool because if you look closely, you can see that little line between like the lens and like where the glass
mm.
is like
Uh-huh.
I it's so cool. And she was like, I think that would, support your tunnel vision idea. And also it would be really interesting. And that's
Mm,
how it came about. And I was so down for it. I think without it, it wouldn't have had the same effect. And
yeah.
I'm really happy with it.
Yeah. It's great. I love that.
Yep.
Great answer. The music is awesome. Can you tell me more about the music?
Yeah, so the music, all the soundtracks on this are original or tweaked by two artists I've reached out to.
Mm.
So this was actually done by one of my friends and they didn't want to do music anymore. And I was like, dude, I really think like you would crush this.
Yeah.
So yeah, they scored that. They sent me that, and I was just like that's one of like the very few tracks that have been there since like the first rough cut. I was like,
Mm.
this is first time I watched it, I had goosebumps, and I was just like, which it's such a exhilarating feeling when you're like locking in the edit and you're like, yeah, this is the one.
Yeah, totally. Music, just the right music, just like skyrockets your
It
your footage.
elevates it so much, yeah.
Right. It's great. It's a great feeling. Yeah, this is great. Tell me about the lights and the colors. How much of that is practical light? How much of it is like graded?
So the lights and like the lamps and stuff, that was all practical. That was everything. We did like different colors and stuff like that. There was a couple paintings that I got really inspired by for
Mm.
this. I really wanted bargaining to kind of be like this kind of middle point, almost like an interlude in like a song for like, she went through all this. She's, bargaining with the truth and the gas mask girl that comes in kind of represents this, this other entity that can come into your life and at your vulnerable moments. And like, yeah, here's a cigarette, cope with it.
Right.
Like kind of
Right.
it seems positive, but it's not positive. And yeah, no, I really wanted that kind of luxurious jazz club feel. And I'm also very proud of the scene as well. I think it looks so cool. And
Hmm.
Yeah, when I watch it, I keep forgetting that we've shot this like literally in like a 6 by 6 in like the living room.
Yeah,
It was great.
yeah, no, totally. I mean, kind of what I said before, like using a, you can use a space, the same space, in so many ways with
Yeah.
the right set dressing and production design, and it so when people like, I guess when they feel like they're stuck on locations and things, it's just like you just gotta just think outside the box, but use that same space. It doesn't take much, really.
Mhm.
Like in the hospital, no lights. You're not lighting anything really, so you don't have to show anything. You just have sound, and then you're in a hospital. Here, you have some what silk curtains or something,
Yeah,
some
two stand
colored lights.
stands, silk curtains, two stands in the back with the curtains, kind of wraps
Yeah,
around a little bit, and yeah, just minimal
that's
lighting,
it.
and it's crazy.
It has a David Lynch vibe too, which I really like. I was also very curious about the cigarette. I'm not a smoker, but why is it so small and skinny? Is that a thing?
Oh yeah, it was these herbal cigarettes I found from
Okay,
Japan. I just thought they looked very classy and dainty and
that's
beautiful.
true.
That was like
That's
an
true.
aesthetic idea.
Okay.
I was like, thank you.
Yeah, just great color. Okay. Oh, now, did you get the reflections in camera, or is that a little trickery?
I wish it was as clear as that in camera. You could see it, but I eventually did just wrap
Okay.
over it. Just so it I was being really picky with it and I wanted to look the way that like I imagined it. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that you imagined it is enough, right? Like
thank you.
that was a good idea. I was just curious because it does really work.
Thank you.
Oh no. Okay.
Okay. I'm like,
It was like we're gonna play a commercial or something.
that would have been crazy.
Yeah, just another great lengthy, just let it be kind of scene. Well, again, I just want to comment that I appreciate that this is supposed to be depression and that it's like the most pretty, soft like Hallmark card aesthetic. But again, the juxtaposition with the tattoos, the gas mask, these elements that clearly don't belong in that scene. It just, again, it's just interesting by itself. Yeah, again, I think you found another really good metaphor for what she's going through and how do you communicate depression in a way that's not melodramatic or just sadness, right? Sadness. Like, how do you make it kind of symbolic in a way? I think I really like the mask idea.
No, I don't know if it's that noticeable to people that don't know plants on this one, but I feel like, we're talking about symbolism a lot. Obviously, the other one was like masking depression and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, this one was super important to me, and I like fought to get that location. I was just like, please, just for this amount of time. So it is an olive field, like an olive vineyard kind of place, and that was
Okay.
really important to me because like acceptance is peace. Peace is acceptance. It's coming to peace, coming to terms and being at peace with it.
Hmm.
And I think it's so cool as she walks towards like death, like himself in this area of like peace. But yeah, that was my little 2 cents.
No, again, a great choice. You're playing with juxtaposition, the location itself, the pleasing painterly compositions, with the leading lines pointing straight at death. That purple sky, is that some color grading there, or did you get that?
Both. I
Okay.
definitely color graded it to look more saturated and dreamy,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a beautiful sky that day.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was gorgeous.
The music too is not sad, not scary. It's peaceful. It's calm. It's again another layer of kind of juxtaposition, like that doesn't really what you would someone would expect, but it works. Okay, did you have a maggot wrangler on set? How does this happen?
So that was funny. Yeah, one of my producers, I was trying to think, I'm like, how can I spice up this like Grim Reaper shot, you know?
Mhm.
And they were like, what if you added like worms? And I'm like, worms? I'm like, yeah, I used to have a bearded dragon, like mealworms. And I'm like, you can buy worms? And I was like, you can buy worms. So yes, we had a little wormy jar, and it's like an 8-person set, and we got to the point where it was all of us trying to get the worms to stay on the mask.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, I have
You
a
want to leave your
really
mark.
yeah, I'm like, 10 year marks, come on. Yeah, we have a video from that of
Mm.
everyone trying to get the worms, and everyone's like, come on, little wormy, just stick on. And
Mhm.
they would always like fall. Yeah. In that shot, there is probably like 20 worms in the jaw of that mask. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And your actor was okay with that.
It was my boyfriend.
Okay.
I'm like, hey, who wants to do this? I was like contacting people, and my friend who was also a grip on set, because I was trying to keep it as tight knit as possible because it was
Mhm.
such like a personal kind of thing.
Yeah.
He played the Grim Reaper stand-in, death stand-in, and I was just like, hey, like, asking people, you want to have some worms on your face? Everyone's like, no. And then I like look at my boyfriend. I'm like, just for the close up, just. And he's like, fine. And he's like screaming at me, like, there's worms. And I'm like, thank you so much for looking that for
Wow,
me.
that's dedication right there.
Yeah,
Okay, I have to say that I thought it was her that was sick. That
yeah.
it was her, and that only at this shot do you realize it was not her, and that was intentional, right?
Yeah,
Good, because that was a really effective choice, and just a little bit of a twist at the end. I think it makes you. I just like those things that those little details that make you go back. Now you have to go back and watch it again, or at least think about it again. Like, oh yeah,
yeah,
like now I can see how that all makes sense. And I think it changes. I don't know if it seems like it changes like the tone or the mood of it, because there's something about you grieving your own life, and how and that would make sense, and how everything we saw up to this point makes sense, and it fits with how somebody would react to news about themselves.
yeah,
But the yeah, the kind of this reveal, yeah, it kind of it steps it up again. Like you've gone through this journey, you think you know where you're going, but then why? Okay, so why did you want to? What was your goal for doing it that way, and not letting us know that it was about somebody else all along?
yeah. So with films I write and direct, I love kind of making it a fun little journey for the audience. I feel like I like them assuming what their expectations are for how it's going to end and completely surprising them. I think it's really interesting. I love films that do that, that kind of bring me
Mhm,
on a ride, and it's kind of just like, oh my God, like I need to rethink everything or maybe watch this
mhm,
over again, and
mhm,
really dig deep into it. And I think that's also why I like symbolism a lot too, is
mm,
because it makes you think a lot and it makes you think about what you're creating. And I'm really glad that you said that about it also could be about her own life, because when I first showed the very first cut to my grandmother, because she had a point in every single part of this production, it was, yeah, I was
mhm.
like, you're gonna have the whole production experience.
Yeah.
Never shared with me how she felt about being in hospice, being terminal for cancer, all that stuff. And it really opened kind of my eyes to also how this film was put together in its like final form.
Mm,
She told me this is exactly how she felt about her diagnosis and going through it, which
mm.
it was really odd because I wrote this with the like kind of thought of like my feelings towards her,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was just really interesting. It goes back to us talking about like how art connects people. Like it's
Mhm.
such a interesting thing that I just like think I completely understand, but I may not even know like what things like personally mean to her with this art. And yeah, but going back to the original question, I got off a little
No, no,
tangent. Yeah,
no. I like that. Like your experience and her experience that you assumed must be different
yeah.
actually has like a shared kind of through line.
Hmm.
That, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. What you were gonna say something else? No.
I don't remember. If it
Okay.
comes back, I will let you know. I'll raise my hand.
Okay. Yeah, just the shot of an empty chair. Like again, because you've done it multiple times here, but you've found a visual way to get an idea across that's not, that doesn't require dialogue. I'm a huge fan of non-dialogue movies.
No, literally same.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why you needed the kind of the voiceover of like the doctors and stuff to set us up, but then everything after that, you don't need it. And all in this moment, that big reveal, how do you do it without saying anything? And what's the symbolism of an empty chair? And like it's so I'm commending you, but I'm also recommending to anyone watching this that you really should be thinking in more visual terms and sonic terms, because dialogue is should be considered a a parallel thing, a side thing, maybe fill in some gaps, here and there, but really you should be able to watch it on mute and get the
Yeah.
story.
I'm gonna
Um,
add to that. I'm so sorry,
yeah,
not mean to interrupt you. You can go
done.
ahead and
No, I'm done.
sorry.
I'm done.
I was gonna add to that, like a big thing for me when I direct and I write is actions speak so much louder than words. And I think dialogue is very good in assisting those actions. I feel like a lot of my shorter pieces don't have a lot of dialogue, like little to no, because they're so short. And I think that there's so much you can convey. And I think as a director, it's even fun too to direct your actors. They're not just like saying stuff. You get to really pay attention to body language, and if their eyes dart a certain way, it could mean entirely different thing. And yeah, so I definitely agree with you, and I encourage anyone watching, have fun with the visual stuff. It's
Mhm.
really, it's really going to drive your story forward.
Totally. And this kind of wrapping it up here, kind of tying it back. I can tell that you've kind of honed that maybe probably in the music video work, right? Because you you have the music and maybe there's lyrics and such, but that's also a great opportunity to practice telling a story without characters having dialogue. So that would also be a great way to practice, if not doing a short film, do a music video,
Yeah,
and you're kind of forced to skip the dialogue in that in those scenarios.
totally
Yeah. Well, Livy, thank you so much for taking this time and sharing your work and with us. I didn't know how deep this project would go, but I'm very happy to learn from you on this. Thank you for sharing. I think the idea that people can make stuff um, and express not just emotion, but like the personal stuff, like that art and artists can use these as vessels, for their own lives. Always good to see it being so genuine. I think there's a lot of manufactured content where you're trying to recreate these things and trying to you're trying to get that emotion to come across. But if you're not feeling it, if it's not really you behind it, it might not work. But this clearly did. So great job.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much again for having me. Seriously, I'm really glad you enjoyed the film.
Yeah,
And I'm happy you invited me on to talk about it. I seriously thank you for this opportunity.
yeah, my pleasure, my pleasure. Thanks again, and I can't wait to see the next one.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right, you have a wonderful rest of your day or night,
You
and
too.
anyone watching, you too. All
All
right.
right, bye, Livy.